Ladies and gentlemen, I've been looking over some more polls that have come out. There is a liberal narrative going around that Donald Trump's approval rating has gone down already, apparently. They want the honeymoon period to be about a day, but it depends what polls you look at. Generally, his approval rating, based off of Real Clear Politics, I don't know. I'm not sure 538 has their approval composite out because it takes several polls and things like that. But Trump's approval rating generally still very positive. And obviously, when it comes to like his approval rating in general, we're going to have to see with all the wars and it's going to shape up, I'm sure. And there's going to be a lot of negative energy going against Trump in terms of the tariffs and things like that. And we'll have to see how that all evolves. And certainly, we got to make sure. I mean, we said there's already Republicans putting out ideas that Trump should be headed to Mount Rushmore. And I tweeted out an emoji, I tweeted out a little gif of just take it easy. I mean, let's calm down on that. Let's let Trump have a phenomenal term here. And how about there's already something out about, trying to get Trump to run for a third term. I think he's a little bit old for that. But you take a look at this, immigration plus 20. That's really the thing that we're tracking in terms of just the public sentiment. Many liberals trying to do the crocodile tears, the fake crying, the outrage over ICE going to the schools and how inhumane and how disgusting. People really do not care. And this is the difference we've seen now from 2015, 2016 to where you can kind of get, because remember when Trump was talking about the border and building a wall, you had Obama at that point. Obama was deporting a ton of people. Obama deported significantly more people than Trump did, although Trump was only in for one term. We'll see what he does his second term. But like back when Trump was talking about immigration and securing the border, we didn't have a border crisis like we do now. So in essence, you're seeing, the Biden administration come in 2021, and they really created this opinion to where it's obviously Republicans that want every illegal gone, but now it's also most independents. And Democrats are going to say, no, we don't want that. They don't really want to have borders. They think everyone should come in. They think we're all immigrants. Well, no, the people that made this country were European settlers. They came to this country. They came to North America, and they built it out of thin air, basically. They built an entire government. They would be classified as settlers, not immigrants. And they're all white Europeans that did this. So they keep saying, oh, the country, it was made by immigrants. No, it was made by settlers. And they're classified as that because they settled in this area and they didn't latch on to a Native American government. They built something entirely new. And by the way, if Native Americans wanted to kick the white Europeans out, they could have tried to do that. They didn't have an actual government in place, and they were all going against each other because it was a tribal thing with Native Americans, and it was like 90% of America was totally unexplored at that point anyways. So that's just a little history on that. But look at this. Immigration plus 20, national security plus 21. This is what Trump wants to build his good approval rating off of. It's deportations, and they're starting to really ramp them up. People got really angry at Trump the first few days, even Republicans saying there's not enough deportations. Well, that was because they were targeting select criminals, and they said they were going to do that. Now Trump is changing it to where, and listen, I question if Trump does have the infrastructure to deport multiple million people. I think he's going to at least get a few million, but just the question is how many are in the country, if we could get a debrief on that, and then how many can Trump actually get out. Trump is now deporting thousands by the morning. So they'll come out with morning updates. We've deported 1,000, or we made, 1,300 arrests, and it's only noon. So he's starting to really ramp it up. They're starting to go after everyone, and that's the whole idea. But understand the shift that we're seeing here in the United States. Back in 2015, 2016, when you had Obama deporting people, you had Trump come in. I mean, the border at that point, if you look at the amount of illegal immigrants, it was way more controlled than it is now, and that was Trump running on the whole idea of building a border wall to make sure we control the border and we secure it. And at that point, most people said, well, if they're illegal or they're undocumented, and by the way, that's another thing they're trying to manipulate. They're saying, well, most of these people are undocumented, they're not illegal. Well, if they overstay their visa, yes, they would be considered undocumented, and it's not a criminal act. It is, however, not legal, and they're going to be deported. But the ones that Trump is talking about mainly are the people that enter the country illegally. Yes, that's an illegal immigrant. They're trying to say, well, no, they're not illegal immigrants. Yes, if you enter the country illegally, you are an illegal immigrant. And even if you overstay a visa, Because we all know when we're talking about illegal immigrants, we're talking about the people entering the country illegally. But even if you overstay a visa, you're in the United States illegally as well. Um, and so that was another thing they were trying to argue. But all of them are going. They all need to be deported, or as many as possible, we would hope, just because it does cost money to do this, and that's one of the things they're going to argue against. But this is like you understand, you see how the country has shifted, and it really comes down to the independent people, and even people on the right, to where a lot of people on the right are a lot more conservative and right wing on immigration than even Trump, to where we're saying we don't want anyone in this country. You take a look at some of the shifts we've seen, just in terms of the demographics, but what we're seeing is it's gone from, well, people that are here and they're working, they can stay even if they're illegal. They should have a pathway to citizenship. Now the independents are saying, no, get them out. That's the difference. Because it's always been, well, if they're criminals and they're committing crimes in the country and they're felons, they should be deported 100%. That was back in 2015, 2016. But we need to have a nicer policy for illegals here if they're working and they're contributing to the economy, because illegal immigrants are net positive for GDP. Yeah, they're a net positive for GDP, but just based off of household income for everyday Americans, illegal immigrants are a negative overall. And so, but it's gone from that now to everyone needs to go. And that's really the difference there. And really that's because of Biden. You look at Obama to Trump, it wasn't like we had a huge decrease in immigration. I mean, it was pretty steady, Obama to Trump. Now, under Trump, I think there was slightly less illegal immigration, but it started to ramp up right before Trump got out of office during that pandemic period. And then Biden took away everything, because they went into that administration in 2021 with the idea that Trump was like a tyrant against immigration. And so they stripped all of the policies that Trump had that made it harder for illegal immigrants to cross the border, which has had a horrible effect for liberals, obviously, when it comes to Trump winning the election and everything like that. And immigration, I'm sure, is certainly a big reason. But Trump is sitting at plus 20 in terms of his immigration approval rating, and he's executing mass deportations. So this is catastrophically bad for liberals, just in terms of the idea that mass deportations by someone that they branded a fascist. This is Donald Trump doing mass deportations, and the American people approve of them plus 20. And that's from bad policy by Biden to allow all these people to come to the country in the first place. And then, by the way, we remember their whole, the border bill that was going to save the United States. It would have given all those illegals that Trump's deporting amnesty. And this is a plus 20 in terms of immigration, just deport them all. People are in favor of mass deportations. The important people, the independents, are in favor of mass deportations. Republicans are obviously going to love them. Democrats are going to hate them. The independents like them. So that's why it's a 60 to 70% approval rating on mass deportations. It's crazy. Like imagine telling liberals, Donald Trump, you think he's a horrible fascist, and oh yeah, you know what? He's executing mass deportations right now, and the American people approve of it. You can thank Biden's leadership, and really not even Biden. I mean, obviously it's a charade, like Biden was doing anything, but just the modern Democratic Party, modern liberalism, the white guilt, all of it plays into it. The DEI. I saw a poll, and you can see some of this other stuff where Trump's underwater. Abortion, I mean, it is. I mean, but -2 is very good for abortion for Trump, honestly. And he said it's a state's issue. But LGBTQ rights, -6. That is what it is. Obviously, Trump's going to come in and I thought Trump did an amazing thing. He said there's going to be no LGBTQ flags on government property. That's horrible. And yeah, that to me, that's an underrated thing. And that's a terrible look for the United States and the country is to have LGBT pride flags. I don't think they should be, you put them like the crosswalks and everything like that. Why do they need to be on the crosswalks either? I think that's not correct. And obviously government buildings, absolutely not. And that was something that kind of went under the radar because it's not a crazy thing. But look at this: trade plus 13, taxes plus 13. These are really good numbers for Trump when it comes to this. You've got his approval rating here. What was this poll? You've got his approval rating sitting +8. Very, very impressive in terms of that. This is just pathetic. By the way, how disappointing has AOC been? Some of the stuff that AOC, I mean, maybe it's someone, tweeting for her stuff. It's her official account. But she's basically become the equivalent of like a 52-year-old far left woman who barely knows how to use the internet. Like, she'll fire off these tweets that don't make any sense in regarding, like, you can criticize Trump for certain things, but the things that she's saying, just a lot of them, it's like, oh, Trump did this horrible thing, and then you actually look at the context, like, no, he didn't. Like, why are you just lying? Like, but it's like, it's embarrassing for her. But this is another lady. Just watch this. They're trying to like guilt Trump.
Los Angeles has been on fire.
Talking about Los Angeles.
People have lost everything.
And where is Donald Trump? North Carolina. He's going to North Carolina first. Wonder why that is.
Right, and so this is how dumb these people are. You're trying to do an I gotcha against Donald Trump for prioritizing hurricane victims over fire victims. He's going to North Carolina because people had a record amount of flooding in North Carolina that really has never been seen before. It was a historic event, and they were basically abandoned by the Biden administration. And actually, if you look on CNN, one of Obama's advisors said that it was good because maybe those people couldn't vote because they were rural people and they were going to vote for Trump, and he was glad. So he went to North Carolina. But it's like, this lady is so stupid, and the reason is because if you were going to try and guilt Trump into, oh, you know, what is he doing? Like, you would say, oh, he's golfing or whatever. Why isn't Donald Trump in California to help those victims? Because he's in North Carolina to help the victims there. Like, what? Yeah, he went to North Carolina because they had a record flooding. Like, you know, it doesn't make any sense. She's trying to do an I gotcha on Trump and guilt him because he's not helping people when he's going to help people. Where is Donald Trump? It's like, oh, Donald Trump didn't visit, you know, this sick kid with cancer. Where is Donald Trump? He's at the other hospital to visit another sick kid. How dare he? I mean, that's what it is. So, I mean, it's just, I saw that, I was like, but like, let's take a look at it. This is what AOC says. Trump shut off Medicaid. No, it's completely false. What are you talking about? And then she just gets ratioed to death. It's really a shame. I don't know who runs AOC's account. It's not good. But it's like this reactionary, like, oh my God, the media said this, so it's true. And then they talk about this freeze on benefits. There was some lady on TikTok screaming about her, I don't know, food stamps getting frozen or whatever. It's just not true at all. She's like screaming. She's getting money from Democrat super PACs, I'm sure, to do this. That's kind of funny because she was screaming about her food stamps getting shut off. Well, with that performance, she'll have food for at least a year because I'm sure the DNC probably paid her for that performance, because that's what they've been doing now is they'll pay liberals to have these meltdowns and say Trump's this horrible person, and 99% of the meltdowns are just on stuff that's not true. Like, it's not even because they have to jazz up Trump as this horrible person because they've made him the ultimate villain. So they react to things that he didn't do and start crying about them. That's basically the state of it. But either way, guys, that is going to do it for this video. Make sure you follow me on X. Link to that's always in the description.